Hey everyone, Royalivi here and welcome to episode 9 of my Sorare Road to Glory, where you can follow my journey through Sorare as I attempt to climb the divisions and make some profit. Now looking at Sorare here, you can see they've introduced their new play page. I'm loving the fact it almost incorporates a dark mode into the Sorare app. You know, I'm a long time advocate of Sorare adding a dark mode. I use it on any app that has it, so it's something I'd like to see for the whole site eventually. But overall, initially, the new play page seems a bit confusing. Definitely not a fan of renaming the divisions. Obviously, we're all used to Division 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Now we have All-Star and All-Star Pro, which is the old Division 3. Probably just something we'll have to get used to in the future, but you know, the numeric order seems a lot more logistical and it offers a clear path of progression for new users, so I think I would have preferred that to remain. I like the new design of it all. It seems pretty cool and a lot sleeker in certain senses. There's a few color palette issues to sort out, but I'm sure they'll tinker with that in the coming weeks. Same with anything new that's implemented, you're going to have to tinker around a few things after it initially comes out after some feedback, but overall I don't think this update is as bad as some others would have you believe. And then for Game Week 211 in All-Star Rare, we unfortunately missed out on the Ethereum threshold by about 5 points. Now, I said last episode this team should be good enough to hit the first Ethereum threshold, and realistically it should have been, but Metanar decided to go out and get sent off for doing this.
But then Minnesota lose the ball, and Roman Mendner loses his head. What is he doing? Throwing this ball at Kai Wagner. Alan Chapman, the referee, has no choice on this one. That's a red card.
So what a piece of shit he is. And Mitso, my last player to play, usually Mr. Consistent for me, was unfortunately a few points shy of pushing me over the line. So a shame to miss out on the money there, as every bit of Ethereum going into the account helps right now, but what can you do? In All-Star Limited, we were let down by our two strikers. Hopefully they can have a week or two left of the MLS season where they're both firing on all cylinders and we can get a reward. If not, maybe I'll sell them on for a profit if the option's there. And in America, Rare, as expected, a dead rubber. Kyoto and Lopez did not play, so nothing to bring home here, but let's look at some changes to the club before we go ahead and look at Game Week 212. After selling Ayrton in my Challenger Europe team last week, I went out and bought Sugawara Rare of AZ for £195. I thought I'd try and localise a lot of my Challenger Europe players to one league, so a lot of Eredivisie players here. The dream at the moment is an AZ stack one day. I've already got Mitso to go along with this Sugawara, so hopefully one day we can add Pavlidis, Martins Indy, and maybe even Vindal if he ever gets cards minted. I feel I got Sugawara for a decent price looking at Sorare data as well. The last week or so he'd been going for closer to 0.1 Ethereum, whereas I got him for 0.07 Ethereum. I was kind of reluctant to go out and spend a lot of money on players right now, what with Ethereum rising in price recently, but I did need a Challenger Europe defender, and for the price I got Sugawara, I'm very happy to slot him into that position. And heading into Game Week 212, I was actually going away for the weekend now. I should have had time to check my teams and readjust anything right before the deadline, you know, make sure everything was fine, cancel any sells and make any amendments I had to, but unfortunately something came up and I was unable to log in. You know, that's life sometimes, things just get in the way, and both unfortunately and fortunately, Quasi Riot sold 5 minutes before the deadline for £375, so a £260 profit on him. Now I say unfortunately and fortunately, as Riot was leading the line in my Challenger Europe division, so that lineup got cancelled, meaning Branderhorst, Sugawara, Mitsu and Encham would all go to waste this week. You know, if I had time to change things around, Branderhorst, Mitsu and Sugawara would have gone in my All-Star Rare lineup, but what can you do? I'm fortunate in the sense I made £260 profit on Riot. As I always say, right before the game week deadline is a great time to get an increased price on your players, especially with Ethereum going up in price. You know, I'm quite happy with this sell. He's getting good consistent scores and contributions each week, but I like to make a habit of buying players on the low end of their price curve and selling at the peak, and I definitely think Quasi Riot is near the peak of his price right now, so I'm happy to sell him and look at alternatives going forward. Sucks this week to miss out on Challenger Europe, but the last few weeks I've been doing pretty poor in it anyway, so probably better to just get the money for Riot and look at what I want to do with that in the club instead. Now this did make the Game Week 212 results a bit brutal. In All-Star Rare, I missed out on the thresholds by a minimal amount of points. I was so close again. Unfortunately, Delbridge didn't play, which cost me this game week. Unsure if he's injured or just out of favour. I can't find any news on him. Probably just a player I'm going to look at using next season now instead of this season, as he's had a few DMPs. But as mentioned, if I had time to change my team after the Riot sale, we would have had Branderhorst, Sugawara, Mitso, Veldwick and Shelton lining up, and they would have got 260 points, so I would have hit the 0.02 threshold and added £60 to the club. But hey, that's life. It doesn't always work out in your favour. Some things happen out of your control, and all we can do is go again next game week. And then in the other divisions, All-Star Limited, we were pretty close in terms of hitting a tier 3 reward. We were a bit let down by Maxi Gomez, my captain this week. He performed the worst in the team and was unable to impact the game, but overall some solid scores there. So hopefully in the future this team can still compete for a reward, or perhaps even sell them on for profit. America Limited, I was then let down by Soteldo getting a DMP, otherwise I had respectable scores there as well. Not sure what happened. Again, couldn't find any news on him either. Perhaps I'll look at a cheap MLS alternative in the coming days for the last few games of the season to bolster my options there. And unfortunately, Michael Nelson was dropped for Houston as well. He'd been playing recently, but it looks like they've gone back to their regular goalkeeper, Maric. That's a shame right there, but I'm hoping he still gets a new contract over the off-season and becomes their first choice goalie next season. And then in America Rare, nothing here as expected, but it's good to see Sean Nealis scoring well. I think he'll be a great card in the coming years for MLS squads. And on their debut for the club, TSV Hartberg drew 1-1 thanks to a last minute goal, but overall the scores were poor. Horvat didn't even start, so I may look at playing Jurgen Hell over him next game week. But as I've said, we just need this stack to do really well one week. Obviously they're not going to smash teams every week, but if they have 1 or 2 good weeks every couple of weeks, you know, definitely could be in a chance of winning some rewards. Just wasn't to be this week. And then heading into game week 213, the MLS players were playing this week, so I've got a team of Szczesny, Nealis, Dos Santos, Morgan and Kiri Shelton in All-Star Rare. Again, I've said it before, but hopefully that team is good enough to hit the Ethereum thresholds. And then in America Rare, I've got Hamid, Metinar, Valenzuela, Tuoloma and Shiny Ashiki. Definitely not good enough to win a reward, but you know, no harm in trying. Maybe Shiny Ashiki can stop being shy and score a couple of goals or something, who knows. So yeah, overall I have to say I'm consistently proving to be an absolutely terrible player at S05, but at the same time quite savvy in the transfer market, so it's clear what my strengths and weaknesses are with Sorare at the moment. Obviously I'm just going to keep plugging away in S05, trying to hit those rewards and thresholds and maybe sell those players on for profit if it doesn't work out anyway. The game weeks come thick and fast. I'm sure I'll have a chance to change that in the not too distant future. I'm happy to just keep working the market and trying to make a profit there and predict future players that will rise in price. With MLS and the Asia Leagues ending as well, I think there's definitely some players that I'm going to look at in the coming weeks getting into the club with a view of their price rising closer to the restart of their season. You know, I think there's definitely some good deals to be had there at the moment, so maybe I'll do a video or 2 on that. But as of right now, I would appreciate a like and subscribe for more Sorare content in the future. This is Royalivi and thank you for watching.